especially because Tesla is making a profit on their vehicles. And if you're Ford, somehow you're losing $60,000 for every electric vehicle you sell. You're losing, like, in some cases, more than what the vehicle sold for, which is wild. Now, the company did say that it's going to spend at least $50 billion on electric vehicles between 2022 and 2026. It previously planned to spend $30 billion in 5 years, ending in 2025. So they've substantially upped their spending here. Now, the car maker is on a roll. The Lightning has definitely been a success, at least on the sales end, maybe not on the profit end. But the new vehicle has already received more than 150,000 reservations. They did have that little fire snafu where the batteries were, maybe catching some fire in the production lot. But nonetheless, they got that figured out in their manufacturing again. The Mach-E, I believe, has also done pretty all right for the company. In terms of, if you compare them to Tesla, they look terrible in terms of sales. But if you compare them to other fossil fuel companies making these electric vehicles, they're actually doing pretty great. So Ford is, competing with Tesla's Model Y with the Mach-E. Again, weird that the Mustang branding was used for that, but here they are. Now, the company is also building 2 battery plants in Kentucky and a 3rd in Tennessee. Ford is, oddly enough, everybody seemed so not willing to, compete with Tesla, and now everybody is all in on the same thing. So the Ford Model E is a pit of losses, which is just their electric car division. Now, with that, it appears that the Ford Model E recorded a loss before interest and taxes of $700 million. This is $100 million more than in Q4 of 2022. These margins are also in the red, which allows investors to assess the true cost of activity, is negative 102.1%. This is more than twice as much as Q4 of 2022. So Q1 for Ford was kind of a not awesome time. Now, on the revenue side, the sales of this electric vehicle amounted to $700 million in the first 3 months of the year and is less than half of the $1.6 billion in revenue generated by Ford Model E in the last quarter of 2022. So Ford has seen quite a big hit to their revenue generated by their electric vehicles in the beginning of this year so far. On top of, they only delivered 12,000 electric vehicles in the first quarter, which means the car maker lost about $58,333 for each clean car sold during this period. Now, that is astounding. Now, they did shut down production, at least on the F-150 Lightning for a while. Now, they did explain that most of this was due to higher costs, mainly higher engineering, spending-related expenses, commodities, and other inflation pressures. Now, the interesting thing about inflation pressures being one of their reasons listed here is, well, everybody else in the car industry seems to be raising prices. Tesla has just sliced 7 or 8% off all their vehicles since the beginning of the year. Now, Tesla's always fiddling around with price, and do we give free charging for a year versus cut the price? What do we do? They're always doing stuff like that. But Tesla's making money on their cars. So how is Tesla getting more? I mean, Tesla's way more efficient with their batteries. So Ford does it to put bigger batteries in, which in terms is way more expensive. But in terms of performance-wise, the $40,000 Cybertruck, if they hit that target for that vehicle, is supposed to match the F-150 Lightning in most specs and have a tiny bit more range. So where's Ford spending all this money? It doesn't quite, match up for me. Now, weak sale volumes are due to this too. The car maker said they're just not selling enough of these. Production of the Ford Mustang Mach-E is expected to reach 270,000 units in 2023. So to give you just some perspective, that would be about half of what Tesla ships every year. Now, the automakers had previously indicated to achieve this, the car maker had planned to significantly ramp up production in the Mexican plant. But, Ford had deposits since last January. They've been doing it they had to pause production at the Mexican facility starting last January. So it's been a while since they've been able to make cars there. The most fascinating thing to me on this is what is Ford doing in their manufacturing process that's making it cost so much more to build a vehicle than what Tesla's doing? Because Tesla, in theory, is turning a profit maybe not at 12,000, but they were making money making way less cars at some point. So where is Ford? Where are all of these higher costs coming from compared to these other companies? Is kind of the big question for me here. It's wild though that these fossil fuel companies are struggling so much to make these electric cars like reasonably priced with reasonable range. Like it's fascinating to watch it happen. And Ford here, I guess, is one of the people to root for because they're one of the few that haven't gone bankrupt and been bailed out. You know, kind of like our friends over at Tesla with Elon. Amazon has discontinued its Halo Health devices and is going to be refunding people for something as well because the headline didn't say that and I didn't prepare very much. Now, the Amazon Halo brand consisted of 2 fitness trackers, the simple Amazon Halo and the Amazon Halo View with a touchscreen. Amazon also added the Halo Rise, a contactless sleep tracker, and alarm clock. That was bad English. A number of Amazon employees in the division will be laid off, and emails sent out to employees, blah, blah, blah. Some customer, if you're a current user of these devices, you can download and or delete data from the settings page on the app. You can also save your body scan images to a phone's camera roll. There's a bit of good news for anyone who purchased these devices in the past 12 months. In the coming weeks, Amazon will fully refund your purchase price of the devices and accessory bands. Any unused prepaid Halo subscription feeds will be refunded as well to the original payment method. Paid subscribers will no longer be charged a monthly fee, and there's no need to take any additional steps. Fantastic. If you're a company and you're going to kill off a product, you better do it this way where you refund all the people that you just screwed over for the last while. Obviously, Amazon can afford this, but you should at least try. Now, the Halo line offered an inexpensive and feature-filled way to improve fitness and health. But there's so many people in this, with Google owning Fitbit and, you know, Apple's really after this health thing with the Apple Watch. The way Amazon entered the market just wasn't going to be it, especially when they don't have any devices that are built to like pair with these very well. Like you have to download a separate app on a separate device to use. It's not a great system, and for that reason they're just calling it quits.